The country is indeed passing through a difficult time, a troubled time. The troubled time is largely because of the increasing greater divide between the people with respect to anything that you can go to think of. Imagine any type of a difference that the people in India can go on to have, and they are having it, they're nursing it, and they are protecting their grudges, and not only that, they're fertilizing it. They're also fertilizing it with all the type of fertilizers, water and whatnot. And they're enjoying it as well to a large extent. The country is passing through a type of a divide right now that is unimaginable. This divide actually has prompted to think whether some people in the country who profess themselves to be neutral, are they neutral? Or is it that neutrality should be a trait? Or is it that neutrality is ethical? Or is it that going by the present state of the country can afford it? Or is it that this is how people should be? Or is it that is this not unethical? Is it not that is going to be harming the country, harming the humanity, harming the people? Because if you do not go on to side with the truth, you're always going to be aiding that one that is false. You're always going to be aiding falsehood. So you will always go on to say that is, I don't know the truth at all. But then if you don't have a process of coming to a logic, if you cannot go to logic it out, then indeed that is a testimony to your talent, testimony to your inability to understand things, testimony also to your intelligence and what not, everything. That's the basic reason that has prompted a debate. Is being neutral, is being ethical? That's what the topic is. Is neutrality being ethical? And the present state of the country is that is it that being neutral in every type of a situation, when a mob lynching takes place, when a good number of Muslims are out to control the country, when they are always going to be making plans with the help of some neighboring countries, 20% of the population, that is, they are urinating on temples, they are doing everything possible to humiliate a larger population which has aided them, which has preserved them, which has given them solace, and which have understood them for so long a time. And with such type of a nefarious design, that has prompted a big type of a question. But that is one component of it. It is also that people in the country are getting themselves or feeling themselves divided on different lines altogether. For example, when you're going to take into account the neutrality that is going to be in the country, then should it be that you have to be neutral when some type of an injustice is being done, when some type of a crime is taking place, that is at the country level. So neutrality can go on to be at the country level. Now this is the trait. That is, you're going to think that is, I don't have to do anything with it at all. That is, the government will go on to deal with it. Now you're a citizen, it goes on to affect you. How is it that you can go on to remain unaffected in this case? So neutrality in the country is one type of a manifestation. Neutrality in relationship is going to be also one type of manifestation, in the sense that is, maybe it's a manifestation of that you are sulking. Maybe it's a manifestation that you have become apathetic. Maybe that it's a manifestation of the fact that you don't like the person at all right now, and you neither say yes nor no, and you keep on looking for a situation where you can go to change your stance, saying that, well, I never said anything wrong at any point of a time, so now I have a quasi justification that I can go to take that stance. And then neutrality in stance and views. And this is where exactly the biggest problem is. You will go to imagine that Mumbai's film industry has denigrated one community, Hinduism, to the largest possible extent. And maybe the data that you're going to take a look at it is 84% of the Sikhs have been ridiculed. 30% Sikhs Christians have been ridiculed. 58% Brahmins have been ridiculed. And all in all, imagine almost 79% of the Hindu community, whole of it has been ridiculed. They have been looked down upon and they have been branded in a nefarious manner. So, is it not that someone should go on to take a stance and a view that is no, this is something that is not correct. There can be people who can be wrong or right, and in contrast, that is the people who have a faith, who go on to be following an Islamic faith, they are said to be the most pious, they are said to be the most honest people in the whole of the world. And who knows it better than every one of us? That is all the 178 terrorist organizations in the country, they are run by only one community. Only one community. So why is it that people profess themselves to be neutral in this case? Why is it that they have to be neutral even in terms of history as well? History of India has been completely distorted in this case. And is it that they can afford to be neutral? Now, they cannot going to be afford to be neutral, largely because as you understand it and as you go on to think it, that is, those who do not remember the past are always condemned to repeat it. That is, it's a danger, and this is a danger that has started lurking on them. And that is the manifestation of the past, what has happened in the past. That is, if you can go to pick up what Nadir Shah did, if you can go to pick up what Taimur has done, and we are not talking about the son or daughter of anyone, any nefarious designer or any important person in this case at all. We are talking about Taimur Lung, that person who attacked India and who killed 10 millions of this Hindu in this place. Is it possible to be neutral when there was a Malabar massacre? Is it that you should go on to be neutral also with respect to the distortion of the interpretation that was in the wake of the direct action day called by Jinnah, and that was supported by a good number of people in India itself? It is good. So, is it not that this is going to be repeated once again? We say that is this means, if you are neutral, this means that you have an opinion about the people. It means that you have an opinion about the people, you have an opinion about the country, you have an opinion about the society. But then either you don't have a personality or you want to manipulate it in a manner at a later date. And that is the reason why you are being neutral in this case. Neutrality in this case is being used as a weapon, largely because if you don't have a personality, then of course you don't deserve to say anything thereafter. And if you have a personality and if you can go on to take a stance and you're not taking a stance, then using neutrality as a weapon. Your acquiescence is, that means you gently going to say that is, yes, I agree with it. That is being used as an acquiescence. And this is what happens. That is, whenever there is a terrorist attack by the Muslims in the country, on the people, on the houses, then the entire of the intellectual class of the country, which go on to belong to a particular sect, they don't go on to say anything at all. That is an acquiescence. So is it ethical in this case? Now, this is a question that has been prompted. That's the reason that the topic has been picked up in such a manner to understand whether it is going to be in this case or not. It's possible that you can be neutral. Why? Because you are innocent. You don't know about anything at all. So, neutrality is innocence. You can also be having a lack of information. You don't have information enough so that you can go to take sides. That is, you don't know whether this is correct or not. Whatever, let's say, that is, someone has done it, you don't know it. But then, if you don't have a curiosity to know that, and you don't profess to be making yourself curious, then that means you're not only important, you don't have a right to be casting your vote also in this case. So you must go on to know that. And after having known that, you must go on to know what is the truth. If you don't go on to know the truth, then again, you forfeit a lot of rights. Neutrality, of course, is not lack of information. Neutrality is not silence also. It's not that you're going to become silent. How is it that something that is happening around you and you're going to become completely silent in this case. In the sense that is, you say that I am not concerned with it at all, that is, it is going to be the job of someone else. And that you cannot go on to use neutrality as a politics. That means I'll be neutral, I'll not say anything so that at a later date I have something to say, and at a later date I may go on to say something which will go on to say that, see, I have not said anything at all sometime in the past. Now that means if you're using neutrality in such a manner, then you can be neutral, but being pro-neutral is also not neutrality. That means you are being pro-neutral because you want to change your stance at some later date. That goes on to be the condition associated with it. Now, neutrality does not go on to mean that is, you have to be indifferent or insensitive. Neutrality doesn't go on to mean that part at all. It doesn't go on to mean that you have to be completely indifferent or completely insensitive. You don't have to kill your sense of logic, intuition or feeling. It's enough to kill hatred and biases so that whenever you go on, when everyone knows what they're going to think, whatever that they go know, their conscience says that they are right or wrong in this case. And when their conscience says that it's wrong, and you don't go to take that stance, you don't go on to profess that part, then it essentially means that you don't really care. You don't really care because you are not careful enough in this case. You say that I'm not going to get involved in it. No one is asking you to get involved. But at any point of a time, if you are not following the truth, then you are actually in danger. So when we say that neutrality doesn't mean that you don't, it means that you don't really care. Why is it so? You are apathetic, and you are apathetic, then you are allowing someone else to be apathetic towards you. Maybe the government being apathetic towards you as well, because you are giving a reason to the government. Maybe you are giving a reason to anyone in this case to be apathetic, and you don't have a right to complain thereafter at all. Neutrality, therefore, is dangerous because you always go on to be siding with the conqueror in this case. Neutrality is actually, if you are going to be professing neutrality, it is actually a sign of, it's a lasting principle, it's an evidence of weakness. Only weak people can go on to be neutral. Only weak people going to say, I'll keep quiet, so much so that at a later date, I will try to change my stance, saying that, see, I have not taken any stance and now I have a quasi-justification of being it so. The rights of neutrality will only be, as we're going to say, that is only be respected when there is an adequate power. Any country that is despicable by its weakness, any that is despicable, that means it's a deed that is really despicable of being neutral, forfeits even the privilege of being neutral. That means it can't go on to afford neutral at all. In this case, we are only saying that is you cannot go on to be neutral at all. And if you have it, you must go on to have an adequate power to be neutral in this case. And if you are weak and as we say, that is despicable by the weakness, then why is it that you have to be neutral? You have to be taking the side of the strong or the weak, and you have to take a side that is going to be ethical, and whatever ethics your country goes on to be teaches you, professes you. Take an example. That is, Iran at one point of a time was made by only the Zoroastrian population, Parsi population. Now, the people in that place, they were very liberal, they were secular. Now, in that process, they allowed some Muslims to come and settle in that region. To settle 1, 2, 3, and then at one point of a time, they kept on raising their population, and the population was raised to such an extent that they outstripped the people who were living, who were the original inhabitants of Iran, and then threw them out. So, where are they? They are nowhere. Only a small population of it goes on to exist in India, and some of it is going to be in Israel. That is all. So, can you afford to be neutral towards the plight of these people? Had India not given them any type of a solace, what would have happened all in all? You can imagine that part. So, When you are remaining silent, that means when we say that is what happens when you are going to be neutral. So you have taken a stance to be neutral. But what happens when you are actually neutral, when you say that you are neutral? And we are talking about neutrality. Is it a weapon? Is it that neutrality is a tactics? Is it that it's a tact? Is it that neutrality is your character trait? Is it that neutrality is some type of a strategy that you have followed? Silence in the face of atrocity that is taking place is not neutrality. For example, if some people have remained silent in the face of atrocities that have been taking place in West Bengal, that is not neutrality. If some amount of atrocity has been taking place on the people of Iran and the people, what Iranian people did to the Parsis, that is not neutrality. Silence in the face of atrocity is actually acquiescence. So anyone who has been so, that is an acquiescence. For example, during a direct action day, when some 10 million Hindus have been killed in India, then someone professed to become silent, and it was Mahatma Gandhi. So, of course, you must have seen that is the image of Mahatma Gandhi has taken a real beating of sorts. So, you cannot go on to be silent in the face of atrocity because you are saying that, well, go ahead with it, I am going to be quiet. Neutrality means you must always go on to take sides. Neutrality helps the oppressor. It never goes on to help the victim at all. And silence, when you are silenced, it goes on to encourage the tormentor, never the tormented at all. And that's the basic logic that is going to be given by all of these people who say that is why is it that the Muslims are silent when there is a terrorist attack by their own brethren? Why is it so? This is what we're going to talk about. So neutrality, when they choose to be neutral, then neutrality at that point of a time goes on to become a graver sin than belligerence. But is it possible to remain neutral? Is it possible to remain neutral, or is it possible to remain or taking sides? Now understand that part. The heart is never neutral. You know from your heart there is to which direction you belong to, where exactly what is right, what is wrong. This is like saying that you can't sit down and cannot go on to stand up at the same time. This is because it's completely contrary. This is largely because you can't be in both of the places. You can't be in both the places at once. It's simply not possible. And no human being, a true human being, can never ever remain neutral. You have to take a stance, and what stance you're going to take, how is it that you can go to portray it correctly, is actually a part of your personality. And when we say that it's actually a part of your personality, that without an ability to take a neutral stance, there is no way that you can go ahead also and go ahead as well. A person, that is why we say a person either creates or it destroys. There is no neutrality at all. That is, when you remain quiet and you allow something to be destructed, as let's say what is happening in Tamil Nadu is a good number of temples are being destructed right now. Of course, not by the Muslim community, but by the state government as a part of its policy, stripping the temple of its wealth, stripping the brand of it, putting up priests who are non-Hindus in that place, who cannot go to understand the legacy of Hinduism in this place. That is what we're going to say. You are destroying that place and destroying it deliberately in that region. There is no neutrality in this place at all. And when we say so, then that is why it goes on to pose a lot of ethical questions. And these ethical questions are, one of these ethical questions in this case is that morality is always felt. It is never judged. Whatever that I'm doing or trying to do, that is, I know whether it is going to be moral, immoral. No one can go to judge that part at all. So only you know. And that is what ethics is going to be all about. Only you know whether you have been moral with respect to some of the stance or not. And when you know that something is wrong and you be with the wrong, and be with the wrong side, with the wrong claiming neutrality, then that is also not ethical. You know that part, and that's the basic reason why the so-called Marxists, you're going to find that some of these people in the country have become some of the most hated people. Take an example. Take an example of Romila Thapar. Why exactly she cannot go on to remain neutral, and why is it that her history is said to be distorted? Because her grandfather was the one who presented a book when General Dyer, that is the British miscreant, who killed thousands of people in Jallianwala Bagh without any rhyme or reason. Can you imagine that he presented these people with a bouquet? That is, see, you have done a good job, and he clapped it as well. Now, it is wrong. It is wrong. A wrong is wrong despite no one believes it. A right is right despite everyone goes on to say that it is not so. You know it. You know, and only you know, that is you are presenting a facade. No one knows that part at all. Inside you only know the truth, and you feel it also, but you try to prevent yourself being judged. That means you don't want that your response should go on to be coming in the public. No need. But then there are thousands of ways in which manner you can actually go on to think. And you can go on to take sides. You cannot go on to afford to be neutral in this case at all. That is not done. Neutrality, as we say, that is, when you are neutral in a situation of injustice, then you have chosen the side of the oppressor. It's like saying, as you can go on to see it, there's an elephant, and this elephant goes on to put one of her legs on the tail of the mouse. And then you say that is, see, I'm neutral, I'm not concerned with it, who is right or wrong in this case. Now, how is it that it is going to be done in this case? If the elephant has its foot on the tail of a mouse and you say that you are neutral in this case. That is why we say that silence in the face of atrocity is not neutrality. It is the face of acquiescence. That means you go on to say it so. You go on to say it so, that is, it is indeed correct. You keep on doing it. It's like when you're going to be talking about those elephants which have kept their leg on the tail of the mouse, then that is silence, and silence in that case is saying that is you must go on to do it as well. So people who go on to demand neutrality in any situation, that means under any type of situation, they are actually not neutral. Neutrality is not an ethical concept. This cannot be ethical at all unless it is going to be with innocence, unless it is going to be with naivety, and so on. People who demand neutrality in any situation are usually not neutral, but they favor status quo. That means they are always in favor of the status quo. That means tomorrow something else will go on to happen, and we'll go on to say, see, we are not neutral, and this is what we thought, this is what we said. And then after some time, they'll again going to change the stance. And you know, there is a good number of Indian politicians are going to be of this type. So we say that is neutrality is a graver sin than belligerence. And from, let's say, an ethical point of view, from an ethical angle, we say that is the hottest place in the hell are kept for all of those people who in times of great grave moral crisis have maintained their neutrality. And that is why this is the time which has spurred up this topic. This is the time which has actually brought this topic in the forefront of sorts. And forefront because a good number of people who in the time of this moral crisis are maintaining their neutrality. They're going to say, see, I am going to be neutral. And despite the fact that they know what is wrong, what is right in this case. In these, it is precisely during these times that silence actually becomes a betrayal. Betrayal towards the country, betrayal towards the people, betrayal towards a majority, and betrayal towards the country as well, nation as well. And that's the reason why some people are going to skip a good number of expressions. They're going to call themselves as anti-nationals. Largely because this is the time when that neutrality is not demanded. And this is the time when they must go on to take sides. They must go on to say something. Otherwise, if you don't go on to say something, maybe what has happened with good number of countries in the light of an aggressor, it may happen with you as well. And this is largely because whether you are going to be in a relationship, whether you're going to be in a family, whether you go on to be in a country, whether even if it is going to be anywhere, anything that is going to be left unsaid, that stays for you forever. You shouldn't go on to repent on that part, that you have not taken any stance in this case, and that you should have taken a stance. Neutrality is not a prerogative of the weak. It is a prerogative of the strong. Neutrality is something that is not to be professed, it's not to be propagated, it's not to be diffused. This is largely because neutrality is used in India at least as a form of a weapon, as a form of an acquiescence, and as a form of how is it that you can go to trouble some people by being neutral. India is actually passing through a grave moral crisis, and you must go on to take your sides on the basis of logic, on the basis of whatever that you're going to feel, but then your feeling should not be biased. It should not be based on hatred. But because you're going to find that good number of people going to hate Prime Minister Modi, they have started hating their country itself. Now that is a completely unethical, completely moral. No one knows it better than you that you are being neutral only because you want to help some people, or you want to teach some people, or you want to be selfish, or you want to trouble some people, or you want that some people should go on to rise or fall. You only know that part. Neutrality, therefore, is not ethical.
To have more such discussions and analysis, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for notifications on our upcoming videos.